listen to this 30 to 60 seconds of this video, because in this episode I'm going to tell you about how to discover and achieve your destiny, and this is how it feels like.
Just once in a lifetime, a man knows a moment, one wonderful moment, when fate takes his hand. And this is my moment, my once in a lifetime, when I can explore a new and exciting land. Once in my lifetime, I feel like a giant. I soar like an eagle, as though I had wings. For this is my moment, my destiny calls me. And though it may be just once in my lifetime, I'm gonna do great things.
This is how it feels, right? This is what you feel like when you discovered and you are achieving your destiny. And in this episode, I'm going to tell you about this, how to discover and achieve your destiny. But also, I'm also going to tell you about these specific things as well. How the truth can help you become truly free. Free emotionally, free so that you don't feel like a slave, basically. Because sometimes you feel like you're imprisoned, you cannot do what you would want to do. And this is going to help you just be able to not care anymore. Just be free of even caring what people think about you, right? I'm also going to tell you about the 3 criteria to be a good leader in your life, to people around you, so that they love you and they want to listen to you, but also in your business, and the power of your thoughts and how they control your life and whether or not you achieve actually your destiny. And I'm also going to tell you at the end some lessons from George Lucas. Actually, I'm not sure if it's in the end or not, but I'm going to tell you some lessons learned from George Lucas and Walt Disney, and they had this thing in common that they did to achieve their destiny. And I'm also going to talk about what drove them to really create their success, what really motivated them a lot. And if at the end I have some time left, I'll talk to you about something that I just thought about this morning, because I noticed, with real data in my life, when I was more or less confident, and I developed kind of a formula for confidence, the confidence formula, right? And I'm going to tell you about it. And if any of this interests you, even this slight bit, let me tell you, this is going to be tremendously useful to you. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Ivaldi, Sako. I'm the founder of origrowth.com, and here I try to help ambitious entrepreneurs build an empire, live a great life, achieve their destiny, and things of this nature, just to grow and become a better person, better human, better entrepreneur, and grow in any area of your life, really. And I do this by documenting what I learn here and try to help you become truly free and successful. This is my goal. My goal, I want you to become truly free in all the senses of the term and successful. Build your an amazing life. This is what I want for you, because this is what I want for me as well. So I learn things and I just tell you about the lessons I learn without you having to go through the scar. And if this interests you, subscribe. It's going to be tremendously useful, because this is exactly for you. So I'm going to give you all these things I learned in a sequence in which I learned them, so that maybe it's going to resonate with you more. And let's get to it. So the first thing that made me think of destiny and the concept of destiny was last Sunday. I was listening to Jordan Peterson, right? Dr. Jordan Peterson, and he was talking about destiny to Tom Bilyeu on the Impact Theory podcast. And he was saying these things that made it click for me. And it's also, I think it also made me emotional in some way. I was like, wow, this is true. How I must get this right. And so I'm going to tell you exactly what I wrote down for me, those notes. listen carefully and ask yourself, how can you take this and apply it to your life? And try to find the answers for your life, for your destiny. So, the first thing that I I wrote down, that he said, by the way, I'm French, so right now I feel like I'm not articulating my thoughts properly in English, but bear with me, I promise you, it's not going to get better, like in this podcast, but it's going to be tremendously useful. So, what bugs you? He said. Jordan Peterson, what bugs you? This is one of the places where you can find your destiny. In what bugs you? In what bothers you? There's going to be an array of things that manifest to you as callings of your consciousness. These are your problems. Why is that your problem? Well, can you stop thinking about it? And so I was like, how this is true. What can I not stop thinking about? And so ask yourself this question as well. What can't you stop thinking about? Like, this is a constant theme in your life, right? This always comes back to you. And to me, I thought, okay, this is to not be in a position of weakness. This is to not be a slave. This is to be truly free and successful. To not be at the mercy of someone else. To not be limited in any capacity by someone else. I hate that. And so this always constantly comes back to me. But also, I was thinking about this, like when I go outside and I'd go to social gatherings or anything, or I go to the restaurant, there are a lot of things that bug me. There are small things, small details that people don't notice. Things bother me easily. And so maybe for me, it's to fix those things that bother me, right? All these small things, for example, at the restaurant, when I go to the restaurant, I never feel comfortable. I'm never comfortable. Now, I don't go to the fanciest restaurants, right? But when I go a few times during the year to the restaurant, my back always hurt, right? I never really feel comfortable. I'm like, why can't these people just do something like McDonald's, right? They just put you in a position where you don't feel comfortable to eat. And so these things really bother me a lot, and I really want to solve these kind of problems. What are the things that bug you, right? And what are the constant, reoccurring themes in your life? You always think about how to fix this problem. You always think about this problem in life, right? Maybe you always constantly. I know Patrick Bet-David was saying this. He was saying he wanted to not speak about politics, right? Because this would, his friend, I think, didn't want him to talk about politics on the YouTube channel on Valuetainment, because it would just make people not like him anymore, and he will take a stand, and people that were from the left or the right would not agree with them anymore or anything like this, right? And they would just unsubscribe and not listen to him anymore. But he asks himself, why can't I stop thinking about this? This always constantly comes back to him. And so what he ended up doing is just talking about politics, going into this field, right? And he talked about a lot of leaders, and he just talk a lot about politics right now on his podcast. And this is what he's trying to solve for. He's trying to solve for making America united again, right? He's trying to solve it for this in a way. I know this is kind of his mission. And so what is the mission for you? And I'm going to give you in a bit a question to ask yourself, to find your true motive, your true reason why to do something, true mission. And then in the same episode of Jordan Peterson and Tom Bilyeu, Tom asked, where does this all go? He was talking about the economy and just problems and war and all this. He said, where does this all go? Where does this all lead to? And Jordan Peterson said, it depends on how many of us shoulder our crosses and walk uphill. And this really hit me. It depends on how many of us shoulder our crosses and walk uphill, right? So we put our crosses on our back and we walk uphill, meaning that we take our suffering, we take our destiny in our hands, and we walk in the right direction, no matter if everybody is walking in the wrong direction. It means like everybody needs to do that so that we can prosper, not go into a bad situation, economically, right? Politically, whatever. Then Tom asked, how likely is it that we have a civil war and a World War III? And Jordan said it depends on how hard we have to get hit before we wake up. And I thought, this is really true. How hard do you need to be hit before you wake up? I was like, how hard do I have to be hit before I wake up? I need to wake up right now. I need to stop doing the dumb things that I'm doing right now. And then he said, how high the water has to rise until people learn. How far will we have to go? It depends on how many sins you decide to continue harboring. And then he said, how is this decision connected to the destiny of the world? Well, we all bear the world on our shoulders. And then he said, how can that be true? Here's one way to think about it. How much better would the world be? How much better would the people around you be if you were better, right? And so this gives you this personal responsibility, because if you become better, everybody else around you becomes better. And so this is real responsibility. It's just like it puts your destiny in your hands. He said, how much better would the people around you be if you were better? Some, at least. What would be the ultimate extent of that, right? What if you were everything you could be? Why try getting through the world? He said, why, right? Why try to do this? And he was saying, try getting through the world without doing it. Then you'll end up in the position of Cain. You didn't offer your best. You get rejected by men, women, God, and yourself. And then what? And then you're bitter. You're genocidal. Then the flood comes. Or you erect the Tower of Babel, I think. And this, when I heard that, I had to write it all down. I just transcripted myself manually, all of it, just to make it enter my mind. That's true. I must be everything I can be. Not only for the people around me, but also because if I don't do it, the other option is me getting bitter. And I know what it feels like. Because I remember when I was a kid, I was bitter because I didn't give my best and I was like losing. And I hated it. I hated it so bad. Maybe you hate losing as well. Most people don't like losing, but do you hate it to an extent that you will make everything possible to actually become everything you can be? And so this really shifted something in me. And to discover your big reason, the mission that you're trying to achieve, I think additionally to asking yourself what bothers you, right? What bugs you? Like what constant problem come into your life? There's these ideas that I thought very useful from the one thing that I picked up this week. I think they will be useful to you. The one thing is the book called The One Thing. So, discover your big reason why. What's the essential thing I could do in my life that would have the most impact on the world and would make everything else easier or unnecessary? What's the one essential thing I could do in my life that would make everything else easier or unnecessary, that would have the most impact on the world? And to me, I thought it's to inspire, motivate, and educate the world. Tell the world the truth to be truly free and successful. This is my thing. What is the thing for you? This is what we're trying to do in my company at the end of the day, right? Everything that I do is somehow related to that thing. Like everything. When I take care of my health, is to be able to inspire, motivate, and educate people. When I document here what I learn, is literally, like this is literally the goal here, is to inspire, motivate, and educate the world. Why would this kind of videos, episodes, podcasts would inspire people? How would that be possible? Well, because they're going to see, because right now it's not that valuable. Like these things I tell you, just because I am the one telling you right now from this place, it's not perceived as very valuable because I haven't built a $1 billion company, right? I haven't built a $1 million company right now. But when I do, all these episodes that I've documented and I've just put everything in here, right? Put all of the learnings, all of the things I think about here, I condensed them into the best things I learned and the way I thought about things. All of this makes now sense because this is how I've achieved such success. When I become a millionaire, when I become a billionaire, hopefully I'll get there. It's just kind of still scary to say. When I say it, I just like, sometimes it hit me like I almost want to like cry. I almost like, I'm like I have tears in my eyes. Like I'm just so scared of having to do this. Like, because I think this is really my destiny. This is like, I have to do this to achieve this mission. God has given me the opportunity to do that and the desire to do that. And this is something that I constantly come back to. I don't want to be a slave. I want to be truly free and successful. This is the thing that I want. And this is always constantly coming back. And the way you can profit the world, asking myself, what's the essential thing I could do in my life that would have the most impact on the world and would make everything else easier or necessary? This is the thing. To inspire, motivate, and educate the world. And tell the world the truth, the actual truth that I learn on the way there to become truly free and successful. Because this is what I want people to be. I don't want people to be slaves. And right now, most people, the majority of the world are slaves. Are just like, entertained slaves. And if you're watching this right now, you're not a part of these people. Because most people have already clicked off. In the first 3 seconds, they didn't have the patience to go through all of this. And so, this is the thing that you have to seek. Like, define this thing for your life. And if you don't have a goal, if you don't have this mission, if you can't find it right now, choose a direction, right? Just choose a direction. This is the only thing that you need to do just to be able to move forward. Because the worst thing you can do is just stay stuck forever. There, you're just wasting your life for no single good reason. There's no reason for you just to stay where you are and not move for too long. It's just like maybe you can think for a day or two, but just choose a direction and start moving. Choose a direction and start moving. You can always change your mind, right? If you moved in the worst thing that can happen is you moved in the wrong direction, now you know. Because you realized you moved in the wrong direction, you can now go into the right direction. By the way, this episode might cut like this because it's pretty hot here and it might stop recording. It might stop. The recording will stop maybe like this. So I will not know about it. So sorry in advance. But this should not happen right now. It should happen in a bit. make the link in the one thing as well. He was saying, make the link between the big dominoes, what's the essential thing I want to do one day, and to do that, what's the essential thing I must do in 5 years? Like, this is making the link, means like linking all of the different like big major steps in your life. What's the one thing that you would want to do in your life? So to me, this is the thing, right? In like 10, 20 years, I want to inspire, motivate, and educate the world. Tell them the truth, how to become truly free and successful. This is the big main thing. And so, a little lower than that, in 5 years, what's the essential thing I could do to make this come true, right? To actually, like, be able to inspire, motivate, and educate the world. What's the essential thing I can do in 5 years? To me, it's like build a great media company at least. And to do that, what's the essential thing that you need to do in 1 year? And to do that, what's the essential thing that you need to do in a month? And then in a week? And then today? And then right now, exactly right now. And so when you do this, you can make the link between all of the different steps. And because the thing that really motivates you and drives you is like above just right today, right? What you have to do today is just not necessarily super exciting, but it becomes exciting when you know that you need to do this right now, which will impact how much progress you make toward this big vision, right? This is essential. This is really important because when you do this, you become motivated, like driven, like you take all of the motivation that all these big goals and vision give you, you take it and you apply it in the now. And so it makes you move fast. It makes you be excited about the work that you have to do right now. Then we are getting into the serious stuff right now. And these are the things that I learned in church. I'm Christian, and I'm telling you, even if you're not Christian, it's going to serve you tremendously. So, in church, I was listening to the sermon of the priest, right? The priest speaking, and he was saying some good things about the good shepherd, right? Jesus being the good shepherd. And I'm going to give you the 3 things that make a good shepherd, because being a good shepherd is basically being a great leader in your life and in your business, and it really applies very well in it. And so, at the end of church, we get out, and there's a sister that gives me a picture of Jesus Christ with some quotes behind it. I read the quotes, and they're very good. They're very, very good. I just like them. And then I put it back in my pocket. I put it on my desk, and I just don't think too much about it. And after that, as usual in the Sundays, I go on a walk, and not sure if my phone was vibrating right now. Anyway, every Sunday I go on a walk and I pray. I pray the rosary. I pray to God, and I ask God this time what He wanted from me, right? Because every time I don't know, what do you want from me? I'm asking you for things, I'm asking you for my will, but may your will be done, not mine, right? So, because the will of God is better than yours. It's just like, this is it. He knows more. He has maybe like way bigger plans that you have even for yourself right now. It might be just so much better than what you could hope for your life. He knows best for you. So you want to pray for His will to be done, not yours, because yours is just like, it's human. Like, it's just like, what can you do really? Like, okay, you're gonna do the best things that right now you can see possible, but God knows like so much more. He can create so much more. And what's good for you, because maybe becoming a billionaire is not the right thing for you. Maybe it will destroy you and make your life a misery. But maybe becoming a millionaire is just right good for you. So maybe you will just become a millionaire, not a multi-millionaire, but just a millionaire, right? Or maybe you won't even become a millionaire because it's not going to be good for you and you're going to do wrong things with it. Anyway, that being said, I ask for God for his will. And I ask like, okay, God, what do you want from me? And I come up with these answers that I don't know. And then I come back, I pray, I just didn't have much answers. And I come back home, I see on my desk, I'm a little distracted, there's a awesome Mercedes driving by. Anyway, I was saying, I come back home, I see on my desk the picture that the sister gave me, right, with the quotes behind it. I was like, I'm going to reread these quotes. And I read them, and this is what it said. I'm trying to give you the English version because I've read them in French, right? So, he hath shewed thee, O man, what is good, and what doth the Lord require of thee, but to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God. And then it hit me when I read that in French. I read that and God had given me the answer before I even asked. I was asking God, what do you want from me? And then he gives me this quote where he tells me exactly, directly what he wants from me. And I was not able to see that before. But when I was praying, I was asking God to let me know, to let me see, to let me realize what he wants from me. And I couldn't believe, just what he had given me the answer before I asked him. He knew that I needed this answer, and he's given to me. He gave it to me before I even asked him. He knows everything. God is great. If you're not a Christian, I promise you, it's good. It might be useful to you to just consider becoming a Christian. I'm telling you, it might be the best decision you make in your life. As an entrepreneur, as someone that wants to discover what they want to do in their life, as someone that wants to achieve great things, it's the best way. Let me tell you, it's just, there's no way that this does not help you so much to achieve great things, to live a much better life in the now as well. And so, yeah, this hit me. I was like, okay, this is what God wants for me. And I was like this kind of things happened a lot of time in my life. This is why I have a strong now belief in God. When I was younger, I didn't believe this much. At one point, I didn't believe at all because I didn't have much proof. But the more I went through life, the more I experienced life, I was like, this cannot be luck, all right? This cannot be just randomness. This is clearly, there's a clear fate. There's a clear destiny that God has for you. And so the only way that for you to discover it really, at one point, it's not to ask yourself, okay, what bugs you, right? This will help you. It's not to ask yourself the question from the one thing. This will help you. But the real thing is to ask God. The real thing is to let God in your life and work in your life and see what he does. Move, right? You just move. And I'm going to give you the formula of Tai Lopez. I don't know if you most likely you know about Tai Lopez, but he has a formula where there's the 60-30-10 rule. And for him, what you do with your life is 60% fate, destiny, right? I do believe, I think there's a lot of it, right? 60% is fate. 30% is your doing, right? You having the skills, having the knowledge, doing the thing. And by the way, if you just do 1% of the 30, I don't think the fate thing, the destiny is not going to happen, right? Because God has this plan for you, but I still think you need to do your part, right? It's not gonna happen like this. So there's like the 30% that you need to do, and there's a 10% thing that he says it's other people, right? So it's the competition, it's people that help you on the way, it's all of this. And I think this is true, but for you to discover your destiny, to achieve it, to be able to see it through, I think you cannot do it without God. It's going to be too hard. You put the odds against you. You put just all the odds in your favor if you do believe in God and you do His will. And you do ask Him and He just gives you answers. Even before you ask for them. Before you know you need these answers, He will give them to you. And you just won't be able to see it until you ask Him, God, make me see this. Make me see what I need to do right now. And then you realize you had the answer in front of you all along. And so, yeah, this I would encourage you, if you don't, go on walks and pray. Just without any distractions, in a calm, aside from some kind of nature. If there are trees, it's best. It's better than just the city, and a polluted city and with a lot of cars and everything. Go on a Sunday, it's calm, nobody works, right? Just try that. I promise it'll help you out. And then I was reading the Bible because every day I read the Bible to just have the opportunity to have God tell me something through His Word. And I came across this section. I'm going to try to translate it to you because I've written it in French. So Jesus said to the Jews that believed in Him, if you stay, I'm just translating right now in the real time. If you stay and you keep my word, you will truly be my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. In truth, I tell you, any man that commits sin is a slave. And the slave is not in the house forever, but the son is forever in the house. And only if the son allows you, you will be truly free. And this was especially the verse, like, in truth, I tell you, any man that sins is a slave. I took that, and if you listen to the last podcast, to the last episode, I talked about how Mylett had a trigger to make him do the things that he needs to do or not do the things that he doesn't want to do. For example, his trigger was Bella's wedding because he doesn't want to be dead when his daughter's getting married because he just didn't take care of his health. So every time he doesn't want to go to the gym, he says to himself, Bella's wedding, and it's a trigger. It makes me move in the right direction. And so to me, every time I'm going to sin, every time I'm going to get angry or stay angry and just have resentment and just not want to forgive people or do anything else stupid, I remember right now, I've committed to memory this section. Any man that sins is a slave. I committed to memory and I tell myself, are you a slave or a free man? And this to me is my internal driver. This really to me, like, you have to find your verse, the trigger for you that will make you just do the thing. And to me, it's every time I remember this, are you a slave or a free man? It just makes me go. It's just like, I don't want to be a slave. This is the thing that I would hate the most, right? This is the thing, the most painful to me is being a slave, is being imprisoned. I want to be truly free. This is the reason, because I just would hate the opposite thing. And I realize also the truth of this statement. How true is it? If you are sinning, if you're doing stupid things, you are a slave. How come? How is that? Well, because if you do sin, you cannot control yourself. You're doing just things that will put you in a place where you are addicted, where you are doing things that will harm either other people, and this will come back to you, or will harm you directly. And we do this, for example, when you sin and you eat too much, you let yourself eat sugar when you know you're not supposed to, right? And you tell yourself, it's okay, it's just a little bit. And then you don't remember, any man that sins is a slave. And to me, like, because I've told myself I do not eat sugar, to me it's like a sin. And so if I do that, I'm sinning. And so why is this going to make you a slave? If you accept, like, if you eat a little bit of sugar, if I eat a little bit of sugar, why am I being a slave? Because then I'm going to have to suffer the consequences that I do not want. Or for example, if you do sin and you judge other people, and you cast this judgment, or maybe you don't forgive people. Let's say, because I consider this a sin, to not forgive people and just keep this resentment and be angry and have this anger in you toward other people. If you do not forgive these people that harmed you, even when you were a kid, this haunts you back right now. Because what you hold on to, it keeps the story in your mind, and it keeps you from growing. It just keeps you a slave to who you are right now, and keeps you from becoming a better person. So there you are, a slave to this thing that you haven't forgave. Or the sugar that you just ate, you are a slave to this because right now you cannot stop anymore, right? To me, when I start eating sugar, I have a very, very hard time stopping. And so I'm a slave. I'm addicted to this. When you're addicted, you're just a slave. You cannot control, you're not free. And so this is why Jocko Willink talks about discipline equals freedom. This is the exact thing. When you are disciplined, when you are not sinning, you are free. And so this helped me a lot. And this week I almost didn't sin because of just this trigger that I told myself. Every morning I read this, and I wrote it down on a piece of paper, and I read this every morning. Jesus said, any man that commits sin is a slave. And then I wrote down, are you a slave or a free man? And this thought, I'm just angry. I'm not a slave. I'm a free man. And because I'm a free man, I do these kind of things. I am disciplined. I don't fall into the temptations, and I don't succumb to the distractions. I'm a free man. And this is a really powerful thing because it's your identity. And then I also I was thinking of a podcast I listened from Tim Ferriss with a doctor woman. Please forgive me. I need to open the door because it's just really way too hot, and maybe the recording is going to stop because it's just my phone is going to be overheating. And so they were talking about the truth and how the truth actually sets you free. And this is something that I really realized is just when you actually just say the truth and have nothing to hide, you're rested, you feel good, you feel peaceful, you feel clear. When you haven't done any harm to people, for example, as well, when you do not sin, you don't feel like you have to watch your back. You have to constantly and you are imprisoned. But to be really free is to tell the truth, the whole truth, and never lie, even for small things. Now, there's a caveat to that. You don't want to tell the whole truth in the wrong way. You need to say it in a smart way, right? So if you don't want to go hang out with someone and they ask you, hey, do you want to come to this party? And you would hate going there. And you just say, I don't know. Yeah, sure, I'll come. I'll try to come. And you lie because, oh yeah, I would want to, but I can't. This is a lie, right? And you don't say that. You cannot, it's like, if you try to say only the truth, you can't say even I can't now. You say, I choose not to. This is the actual truth. But there's a way to say it, right? So for example, you say, this is not, you say actually the truth, but you say it in another way that makes it like less kind of a negative on the other person. So for example, someone invites you to their birthday party and you say, I'd love to come, but I have this thing, so I can't. You would hate to go there. You're lying here. And this makes you feel like all these little lies, believe me, like they put something on you. But when you say the whole truth, you don't care. Not only if the person, like if you maybe don't like the person that invited you to their birthday, you will maybe not be friends anymore with them. And so this will free you from this like responsibility of being a friend to someone that you don't like. It will free you. It will create around you, eliminate the people around you that you don't like, and make you just have a better life in the end. But if you do like this person, but you don't want to go to their birthday, you say, it's not really my thing to go to the birthday party. I don't really like them. And so you say, so I will not come. And this is the truth. And you said the truth in a way that didn't hurt them, right? Instead of, I will choose not to come. I choose not to come, right? No. If you say that, you just maybe hurt the person if you don't want to hurt them, because this is the truth. One other way to think of the truth, I heard one time Alex Hermosi said something like, if you wear cowboy boots and you feel really uncomfortable in them, to me you're a liar, you're a scam. And I was like, this makes sense, yeah. Because if you're just trying to do things to appear in a certain way for people, or to not hurt them, or you want to stay in the line, you are a scam. You're just not living true to yourself. You're just catering to what people would want from you. You're just trying to appear in a certain way, but you're not really this person. Now, maybe in the beginning, when you're trying to change and become a new person, you need a certain period to adapt and to grow, to become a new person. But in the vast majority, when you for example, you're trying to wear a suit every day, and you never get comfortable with this suit, and you don't want to wear this suit, but you just would want to people see you this way. You're a liar in a way, right? You're lying. You're not being your true, like authentic, like it's you. I don't care. I don't give a shit, right? And so yeah, this is really like, it's freeing when you say the truth, and you don't care. You don't hold anything in your back, in the back of your mind. It's freeing. And so to come back on the thing that the priest said Sunday on the Good Shepherd, right? Jesus. He said this: a good shepherd knows his sheep, and his sheep know him. He knows their problems, their expectations. He knows everything about them, right? He really truly knows them. A good shepherd, a good leader, is one that knows how to sacrifice and forgets his own problems, his own worries, his own concerns for the ones of his sheep. Of his sheeps. I think it's how you say it, right? Not sure. I'm just translating from English right now. I'm not the world best translator. Anyway, and the three criteria of a good shepherd, of a good leader, is to be responsible for the other, is to take care of the other, and is to give your life for the other, right? And so I thought, this is exactly what I need to do with my employees, right? With my team. I need to know them, right? Care about them, be responsible for them, and also give my life to them. So give my time to them, give, like, sacrifice, suffer, solve problems for them, right? And this is how you become a good leader. And then when I read the Bible again, I read this new this other passage where I'm going to paraphrase, I'm just going to say what I got from it, but this is what I got from it. Nobody can take away something that God gave you, right? This is the main thing that is like destiny. Nobody can change your destiny. Only God has your destiny in your hands, in his hands. And maybe you can also be worthy or not of this destiny that the Father has provided you with. And Jesus speaks about his sheep and his deeds, and the Jews try to take them away from him, right? Take all this, all the miracles that he did. They're trying to take this away from him. And he said, nobody can take away what the Father has given me, right? Nobody can take away what the Father, nobody can take away something from the Father's hand. If it's in the Father's hands, if it's God's hands, nobody can take that away from you. And so this all destiny, fate, and this thing, knowing that nobody can change your destiny but God, this gives you relief. This makes you feel peaceful and not scared that someone is going to take something away from you, because if it is for you and it is good and it is from God and so it is good, nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can take that away from you. It's just God. If God gives you this, it's yours. Unless you become unworthy of it because you chose to go to this distraction, you chose to not be disciplined and do wrong things, right? Then in another moment, I read another section of the Bible. I'm telling you, all these things, I tell you, it made me feel like I'm telling you, random things that I learned, but all these things make sense in together. It's just insane. Jesus looked in the sky and said, Father, I don't know how to translate that. I bless you. I render grace to you for having made my prayer come true. It's a really long way of saying what I wanted to say, but you get the point, right? The point is that when Jesus was going to resurrect, to actually raise from the dead someone that was actually dead, he made him become alive again. It was a Lazard. I don't know if it's this name in English, but this was this man that was dead, and it was Jesus' friend, and he didn't come on time to heal him and prevent him from dying. But then it was actually God's plan, and he died, and then Jesus went there, saw the tomb, and said, "Thank you, my Lord. Thank you, God. Thank you, Father, for having made my prayer come true, for having answered my prayer." Because his prayer was to raise this man from the dead, and he already knew before he prayed, and before he saw, he actually thanked God for having made his prayer come true. And this is the level of belief that you need to have. And you need to thank God for your blessings that you want to receive in the future before you receive them. You need to thank God because you believe that you will receive that. And you actually thank God for that in advance before anything happens. And then it happens. And it's like, when I was a kid, this is one thing I remember when I was a kid. We were playing in family with my father, my mother, my brother, to a social game with what do you say? dices, right? Dices, and we play, and the goal is to have a 6, right, on the dice. And at one point I saw my father that just like actually like say, this is going to be a 6. And he was like saying it, and he was like, this is going to be a 6. And it actually was a 6. And he did that multiple times. And just even when I was a kid, I was like, mind blown, like how did this happen? And so this is the kind of thing that when you pray and you thank God and you really believe that it's going to happen, this thing actually happens. Like this thing actually happens. When you pray God and you pray and you know it's going to answer your prayers, this thing happened. It's just a question of time, right? Sometimes you're going to pray for it to happen at one point. You cannot pray for it to happen at one point, at this time, because God decides the right timing. You don't know, like, what's the right time for you. Maybe it's best for you to actually get rich in 10 years and not now, because if you do get rich right now, you will get messed up with this money. You will not know what to do with it. You will make big mistakes. You might get killed. You might get in a big car accident because you bought a Lamborghini. You just went too fast with it and you were not controlling yourself, right? Any of this thing. Like, you can pray and believe, but do not have this lack of belief because you don't see the results right now, because it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Like the proof, like what you see right now, it doesn't mean anything. We need time to make to let the prayer come true, to let the prayer and your goals become into fruition, right? To become true. And so, yeah. Last thing that I wanted to get on was, because I'm running out of time right now, so I'm going to get a little fast on the Ed Mylett things because we were talking about being like truthful, right? And how the truth will set you free. And this is one of the ways that you need to be like true and not conform to people. Ed Mylett was saying this, you need to color outside the lines to succeed, and don't conform to people. You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable and making people uncomfortable. Because conforming to people is cowardness. It's a lie. It's not truth. You're just erasing yourself to cater what people want. Even if it's a majority of people want, a majority of people can be wrong. And so when you conform to people and you don't make them uncomfortable, you don't want to scare people, you don't want to make people uncomfortable, you conform to them, and this is being a coward. You need to be courageous and have the courage to not conform and color outside the lines, right? So when they was making this reference to when you were a kid, you color between the lines, right? They give you a drawing and you color between the lines. What you need to do is just draw whatever you want. And so, yeah, after that, he was also saying that your thoughts are like a magnet. And I was like, this is so true, because, and believe me, even if the analogy is kind of weird, like, this happened too many times for me to just think it's just random. It's not random. It's actual truth. Your thoughts are like a magnet. When I go to bed and I think about the mosquito that is just making my life miserable to sleep, and when I think about it, it comes like just, you can count 1 second and the mosquito comes to me, and it comes and it bothers me and just it messes me up. When I don't think about it and I forget about it, it doesn't come. It doesn't come to me. It's like there's this mosquito that is just in my room. I don't know what it is. It's invincible, invisible. I can't kill him. So the only way I can do something about it is by controlling my thoughts. And when I control my thoughts, I don't think about him. I forgot it. I forgot it. It doesn't come. But every single time I think about it, I promise you, it comes. It's just like crazy. It's magic. And Ed Mylett was saying this, your thoughts are like a magnet. If you fear that something will happen, this thing will happen if you keep thinking about it. So you need to stop thinking about it, think about what you want to happen, not what you don't want to happen. Because if you're constantly with your fears in mind, your fears will happen. But if you don't think about it and you're not afraid because you just don't think about it, you don't care, you get the actual results. In Formula 1, right? If the pilot, the driver, looks at the wall, he will gravitate toward the wall and he will make a big accident. So a big rule is like, even when you drive, you cannot look at the other car because you will gravitate toward it. And in Formula 1, it's just amplified 100x, right? Because of the speed. And when you look at where you want to go, you go there. But if you look somewhere else, you will go in this direction. So you need to be careful where you point your thoughts to. And then I listened to a priest that a friend of mine, my cousin, actually sent me. And he sent it to the right, like at the right moment. If you listen to this, Rene, thanks, right? And he was talking about controlling your thoughts. Now, this is a real battle that happens in the mind, right? Because if you don't control your thoughts will basically control and dictate whether or not you sin, whether or not you stay disciplined or not. Your thoughts. And this is why having this committed to memory, like any man that sins is a slave. To me, this is very powerful because I'm controlling my thoughts and I made the decision in my mind to not sin before I do. When I think about something that I would want to do, I want to eat this donut, but I remember, and in my head, I made the decision to not do this. It's done. I won the battle. But if I don't control what's going on here, I lose it. I let it sink in my mind, and then it wins over me. And so then you actually do the thing that you don't want to do. And so yeah, the saying, the man who sins is a slave. It's just like, this really helped me. Maybe this could help you too. And I was listening to Founders Podcast on George Lucas and Walt Disney. And this is what the notes that I took on them. George Lucas was similar to me. He hated people telling him what to do and being controlled by someone else. He told his father he would become a millionaire before 30 years old. He wanted to buy his own freedom. Because we are slave until you can buy your own freedom. And this is the truth. Like, you have, like, people can tell you what to do. People can tell you to work at a certain time if you don't have enough money, right? If you need them for money, then you're a slave to them. Like, this is this is literally what slavery, modern slavery is. Like, it's just, you make people do what they don't want to do because you have something that you can control them on, right? So you can control their money, right? You can control what they do. Even though if they don't want to do this, they will do this for money because they have to live. They have to survive. And he did say to his father he was going to become a millionaire before 30, and he actually did it because he believed it. And he was he made his own product. Like, so he saw the problem that he had right now, right? What bugged him is that he couldn't make his movie because he didn't have the technology. And so he actually built his technology, right? He built a new company to make this new technology to actually make his movie Star Wars, right? And so this, like, tells you this is how you actually apply Jordan Peterson advice. What bugs you, right? What problem do you have? And this becomes your destiny. George Lucas saw what he wanted. He wanted to do this, and he couldn't do it. He didn't have the technology, and he couldn't think. He couldn't stop thinking about it. This was his destiny, and he ended up creating Star Wars, and it made him a multi-billionaire, right? Walt Disney. These are the notes I took on him. He had raw ingenuity and a sadistic determination. He just was going to make this happen, no matter what happened. And he became the antithesis of his dad. successful and a great dad. His father was a failure. He was just failed at everything he did, and he was a really bad dad. He was a really bad dad, and he became the antithesis, like the contrary to his dad, because he saw what he wanted. He didn't want that. He saw what he wanted. He went into this direction, and he just looked at this, and this is how he had this determination. And he also just wanted to escape and control his environment. And to me, this is really something that I resonated with, because I myself, when I was a kid, I just wanted to escape. I escaped through video games. I escaped through sugar, I think, yeah, as well. I escaped through movies, TV shows, all these things. I just escaped in them. I felt, my environment is better now, because I hated the world around me. I hated school. I hated so much, like people telling me what to do. I just had to escape and control my environment. So I remember when I was really a kid, I happened to have a few toys, right? Just like a kid would have a what do you call that? A favorite toy. Forgot the name of the thing that you always you sleep with and everything, right? And I always had some toys with me to just control my environment and make me feel good in my environment. And this is what Disney wanted to do. He hated school. He wanted to control his environment and escape. And also he believed in himself. And this is on something that on the Founders episode, he always, the founder, the host of the Founders episode, I forgot, I think his name is David, I'm not sure. He always says that belief comes before ability. Beliefs come before ability. And this is extremely true. If you don't believe you can do it, you will not take the actions for it, and so therefore you will not have the ability to do it. If you do believe it, you will actually have and develop the ability. And Disney also didn't want to do anything that somebody else could do. And so he jumped into an industry because he knew he could be the best in it. And so this makes you think, okay, what would be worth for me to go into? What industry I should go into because I could be the best in this industry? This is pretty hard to do, especially in the beginning. But if you are not in the beginning and you are a little more advanced, this is something that you can think about. And one thing to add with this fate thing, I hired the most qualified person on paper this week, and then I realized I didn't like her, right? I didn't like her too much in the beginning. The feeling didn't go through too much, but on paper, she was the most qualified person. This other person was a little less qualified to do the job, and I chose the person that I liked less, but that was qualified on paper. And I kind of immediately regretted it. My gut feeling told me, do not work with this person. But I ended up hiring her, made the contract, and the day she signed the contract, and we had some work to do, she actually got hit in the eye with a tennis ball. How likely was this to happen? Come on. How likely is this to happen? Not likely at all. And she sent me the video. And she got hit by a tennis ball went into her eye, and so she couldn't see anymore. So she couldn't do the job anymore. And so I ended up just firing her before anything, right? And I hired the other person. And I think this is the kind of things that it's fate, right? This tennis ball hitting her eye is actual fate. It's not it's destiny. And let's go. I'll give you the confidence formula that I thought about this morning, because this week I was for 2 days I had slightly less confidence than usual. Now I was like, okay, what's the root cause of this? Because I have actual data and I have a score out of 10 on different criterias for my week. And so at the end of the day, I have a score out of 10. And so this day I actually had a 10 out of 10 day, which was the only day I didn't watch any YouTube, any YouTube. I just read the one thing. And so the only day I didn't watch any YouTube, I had a 10 out of 10 score. And so I think this is very useful to know, because YouTube is very distracting, just because, especially when you watch other types of content than this, it can be very distracting, because this is very like calm, just me talking to you, just like a real human being. It doesn't distract as much as another kind of videos. And the 2 days I lacked confidence were the days I slept a little less. And I was less confident, I had less energy, and I had less focus. And so I developed this formula. I'm not too sure about it, but I think it's pretty like, there's something to it. Confidence equals focus times energy divided by sleep. Now, this is not mathematical like truth, but confidence is definitely linked to focus, to energy, and to your sleep. And your sleep impacts your focus, your sleep impacts your energy, and therefore it also impacts your confidence. It just makes sense to me. When you have more energy, you're more confident. When you really focus and you don't have as much energy, you're still pretty confident, right? Because you really focus and you know what to do. But when you have no focus, no energy, you're distracted and you don't have energy, you're just tired. How confident are you really? Not very, right? And so this is one thing to think about. To increase your focus and energy, all you have to do is better your sleep. And so I have made a podcast on that, on improving your sleep and how sleep experts are wrong telling you to sleep just 8 hours. You should do something else instead of that. And sleep more and actually in a better way. And I tell you in this episode that maybe appears here right now, if you watched and liked this podcast, give it a like, subscribe to not forget and miss the next episodes, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Appreciate you being here up until now. Really. Thank you.